corn chip smelling yeast in Frenchie's paws is one of the most common things we see, and then the ears as well. Lots of people use apple cider vinegar baths or Epsom salt baths to kill or clean the yeast away, and it actually works pretty well for a few days, but then the yeast comes back. It always does. Now, the fact that you switch to an open farm food is a good sign. It means you understand that this is a diet issue, and it is. Open farm, grain-free is a huge step up over the average kibble, by the way, so you're on the right track. Here's why it's still not working though, even with that switch, and what you can do to actually see some lasting change. First things first, yeast reappear every time you clean them away, not because your dog is like stepping in yeast or something, but because there's yeast in his gut, an overgrowth of yeast. And when there's too much yeast in the gut, it causes inflammation in the gut lining. So the lining of the gut swells up and then little tears form. That's called leaky gut syndrome. Yeast cells can now leak out into the bloodstream, travel through your dog's body, and then they wind up on the paws. They're super itchy. You can kill them on the paws, on the surface as much as you want, but there are infinitely more waiting in the gut, having babies, ready to come out and itch more. All right, let's talk about your food. Lamb, as a side note, is not a protein we'd ever recommend because it causes gut inflammation. You would want more of a turkey, duck, rabbit, or fish recipe. Those don't cause inflammation. Now let's look at the rest of the ingredients you'd want to avoid in your case. Garbanzo beans, peas, lentils, pumpkin, carrots, apples, cranberries. All these ingredients are actually amazing, and it's super cool that they're replacing other more sinister ingredients in dog food generally right now. However, for a dog with a yeast issue, these are actually ingredients we want to avoid while we're trying to get yeast in check. And the reason is yeast eat the starches and sugars in all of these ingredients like candy. It's a tough pill to swallow, but we don't recommend anything on the open farm site while somebody's trying to get their dog's gut in balance. We used to. It's a great company with great food, but there's too much yeast fuel in there, unfortunately, and the clients we had weren't getting the results they wanted. Once the gut is balanced, you can totally go back to it. But for now, while you're actively trying to rid your dog of yeast, it's best to use one of these 42 foods. And frankly, even then, simply just not feeding the yeast won't do the trick either. It's a great first step, but yeast cells are resilient little wieners. You have to kill and detox them also. That's why step 1 of our protocol is to switch foods. You got to stop feeding the yeast you're trying to get rid of. Then step 2 is to detox yeast from the gut and the body. And the last step is to add probiotics in high doses so the good bacteria can be in charge. I hope all that helps.